Actually, well, we picked 25. We may take the 25, but I'm not sure at this point. It's just a logistic exercise, I think. It's difficult because people play Saturdays, so. But we can't just scoot them over in a couple of hours. So yeah, we'll probably take at least 2, I would think, maybe 3, but that's unlikely.
Stephen Hill was just running laps on Wednesday. Is there anything wrong with him?
No, he was fine. He'll train fully tonight. That's just that management. Some of them end up a little bit sore. So look, it was a heavy game, wasn't it? Like the last few weeks. So yeah, just freshening him a little bit. He's fine.
Another more rain forecast, I think, Sunday.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it. So anywhere, anytime, any conditions. We've played a fair bit. I just assume it's going to be wet. If it's dry, that'll be a bonus.
So. The boys must be getting pretty accustomed to that sort of weather, having, I think, 4 or 5.
Yeah, I don't talk to them about it, really. I mean, been to grand final day, it's been wet. Been to grand final day, it's been sunny. So we just take what comes. But yeah, it's probably, we've experienced a bit more wet weather and dewy nights than we have in the past, but I don't think that's a bad thing. You don't run as much, like everyone talks about. But the bottom line is, we know the metres per minute and that are down because it can't zip up and down. It's impossible. So.
Matt Fyfe got a bit rattled by Hawthorn last time. Are you confident that won't happen again?
Did he?
He got suspended.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the past is irrelevant, I would think. Yeah, I can't remember. I thought he kicked a couple of goals and that was pretty good. Which game? Was that the round 17 when we won? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I couldn't even remember he got reported. So I remember he kicked a couple of good goals, took a couple of good marks. So.
Maybe it was earlier in the year.
He did both. Kicked a couple of
Yeah,
goals.
it's all part of the growth experience, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, look. You know, it's a fierce competition. You expect to get challenged. We relish challenge because we get to grow.
They're still playing some really good footy, but they've structured a little differently up forward without Roughhead. What are you expecting in terms of how to defend their smalls?
Defend their smalls? Yeah. Or well, they might go to. I think they still have Schoenmakers, Gunston, certainly Spanger can go down there. We just pick a defence that can cope with 3 or 4 talls or smalls. You know, I think that's the business. You need flexibility, and you're never going to have perfect matches. But as always, if we don't put pressure up the field, they're very good with the ball in hand, and we know they're a real offensive threat. So, but the competition shows everyone's beatable. All the win-loss tells us that, and last night's a sharp reminder of you're only as good as your next performance. So that's the way we're viewing it.
You spoke after the game last week, Ross, about making it a contest, not circle work, and that comes back to their ability to use the ball if you give them time and space.
Yeah, that's correct. I think, look, that's relevant every week, but it's more pronounced against Hawthorn, clearly. So, yeah, they're pros and they've delivered at a high level, so we're pretty keen to challenge ourselves.
How do you restrict Cyril's influence? They were saying it's the best, or one of the best 10 possession games, you know, that someone can play. It's just his influence in the game, even if he doesn't get a touch. How do you limit his influence?
Well, they might be right, but I'd be happy if he has 10.
Well, so what do you have to do to? How do you restrict
I haven't thought about him, to be honest. I just see him as another one of them. We know he's talented and does the freakish, but you can't stop the freakish, can you? So defend him, do the basics well. No more or less focus will go into him than all their other great players.
Ross, will the weather affect your final lineup? Would you go a bit shorter if it's a bit wet?
No, as I said, we've still got to get through training. I don't know what it's going to be like just down there. We tend to sub off during, like, Saturday hasn't been doing much wrong, and like, halfway through the third we just bring some run on. So we like the taller forward structure. So yeah, it's certainly not a huge issue for us. If you, as I said, we like to play in all conditions with the same sort of team, because that's what you need to be able to do. But we're certainly not obstinate about it either. If we got down there and it was drenched and slippery, well, we might look at it. But yeah, not at this point.
Luke's to the 50th this week. We know how good he's been over the journey. How important has he been this year? Just
who, Luke?
Luke McFarlane.
Yeah, Luke's a very good leader. I think that's first of all, you've got to perform on the field, so he's clearly doing that. I thought there was a few weeks where he didn't have full confidence in his body and he just wasn't at his best, but the last few weeks he feels really good about his body. And really, we've had some real challenges down there. No Dawson, no Silvani, and then no Johnson. So I think that gets lost a little bit, that some of the challenges we've had down back. But our forwards and mids have put on good pressure. Alex Pearce is really coming through. So we're thrilled with that. But, he's significant. His ability to win one-on-one contests and shut down the lead is really impressive. So he's a big influencer. He performs consistently, and he's had a wonderful career that's still going.
How impressive have you been with Alex's ability to just settle in straight away and do his job?
Yeah, look, he's had some challenges, and but we knew he could play for a fair while, and he hasn't been perfect, but we know we got one there. He's 196, speed, endurance beast. One of the elite runners at the club, competes, and more importantly, he's hungry to play AFL footy. So, Greg Williams used to talk about it, and everyone talks about it. It's about desire and want. There are a dime a dozen blokes with ability that don't make it. They're everywhere. But this kid's got ability and desire, so they're the ones we love.
I know you don't want to project too far forward with him, but given his size and his aerobic capacity you just touched on, where could he end up, or what kind of player could he be as opposed to a lockdown defender? Could he become a tall running wingman or a halfback, something like that?
They're pretty hard to find, tall defenders. So when you've got one, you tend to grow up in that position. So that's where we would like him to continue to grow. They're like hen's teeth. They're hard to get. So look, he's got plenty of improvement, but you'd like him to be able to bounce off. Really, there's some good players get a fist in and bounce off. So that's what we'd like him to be.
Ross, Luke spoke at halftime last week about his frustration that maybe the preparation wasn't as good as it could have been, and just looking at that, I know obviously you like it when players challenge the standards. Do you sort of welcome that feedback, on camera though at halftime, or do you prefer he keeps it internally?
Doesn't worry me. It keeps the broadcasters happy. We're still talking about it. So if people generates interest and everyone's interested and it's honest, it's fine. So it was really accurate. There'd clearly been some lack of discipline and some stuff he didn't enjoy, and it just means mentally we weren't in that space that we needed to be. So if you're not in the space you need to be, it means your preparation hasn't been at the level required. So that was the feedback. It wasn't really specific to anybody. It was a general, he voiced the facts. So, but we can talk about it next week as well. So it was good feedback. It was really interesting. And they're the insights we like to give. So, yeah, that's fine.
Hawthorn had a patchy first half of the season. Are they at their best now, or do you think they're still building towards September, or where are they at now?
Well, I know what their best is. They win a fair bit. Building, we're all building. We all need to improve, and I think they'd say they got improvement in them. But I'm really here to focus on us and talk about us. I think we acknowledge the levels they've been to. The ladder doesn't lie. They're at where they're at, and we'll go down fit and healthy and have a go.
Is this the best measurement you'll get as to where you're at so far this year?
Look, I don't get into theoretical models. It's another game of footy. It's 4 points. Opposition are really faceless in a sense every week, because it's about how you play and how you prepare, and it doesn't matter who you play. We're seeing that on a weekly basis, aren't we? We saw it last week when North Melbourne go up to Gold Coast. So if you go on perceptions and assumptions and past performance, you can find yourself hurt pretty quickly. So our footy's about ourselves and improving, because we can't be in the position we're in if we haven't improved and we don't play a brand of footy that we think stands up. So, but you don't have to. It's obvious that they're a very good team and we're going to be challenged. So, everyone talks about audits. Everyone talks about important months. You get audited every week in the AFL, and every training session and every meeting. But that's high performance. That's high demand. Some people enjoy the process and the work to try and achieve something, and some people shy away from it, and some teams shy away from it. But the good ones embrace it and enjoy the work and relish challenges. So we're relishing the challenge.
You always highlight the importance of midfield, even more important against a team like Hawthorn because of their ability to control the ball in the air.
Well, again, I don't think it's any more or less. It's the same battle every week. Give your forwards opportunities and protect your defence a bit. So I don't think it's any more or less, but clearly it's harder to win that battle against higher calibre opposition, which they're proven to be. So that's the difference. No more value on it, but it's harder to achieve.
I was just back on Luke. Has Jono's injury impacted on any plans to rest him? You said you were going to visit that at half?
No, everyone talks about rest and that, but it tends to happen through injury and buys. But I think you need to acknowledge we just had a buy and then we had a 10-day break. So it's a significant period of time in the middle of the season when they're looking for one. So I think it's occurred. But if you think they need another one, well, let me know. That's okay. But you're right. If we had more flexibility, ultimately, and if Luke hasn't played. Luke didn't play a couple of games, did he? I can't remember when they were. And Jono might have been available. I can't remember. They're just all blurs. But look, it's significant. Why are you talking about? Because last year, like Luke did a calf, didn't he, and missed. So we're okay with that as well. But if you don't win the games, you can rest people and not get to the finals. So it's a hard one. It's a balancing act, which we're aware of, and you make a very valid point. But we have just got some really good period of rest.